guidance in each of those areas.
It really highlighted the need for clear communication.
And a shared understanding of expectations.
Which are those systems that connect all the different parts?
What could that mean for you in your daily work?
Definitely more streamlined administrative tasks.
Simpler processes for getting things done.
Imagine AI helping with the grant application process.
Or making the research ethics review a bit smoother.
Even assisting you in tracking your professional growth.
AI-powered ERP could be much more user-friendly overall.
Giving you faster access to the information you need.
The videos also stressed how important trustworthy AI is.
Companies are really focusing on building that confidence.
And that proper training is key to using these tools well.
The technology is powerful, but knowing how to use it matters most.
It's about the understanding, not just having access.
And of course, those ethical considerations are so important.
Exactly. Which naturally leads us to the topic of data management.
Right.
And that really important principle of least privilege.
Especially when we're talking about university environments.
Could you maybe explain that concept a little more?
Universities handle a huge amount of sensitive information.
Think student records, research data, faculty information.
Data management establishes...
Oh, go for it.
And don't forget hospitals. Universities own hospitals and run the hospital, and you have a personal record of patients that has to remain private.
That's a really crucial point to remember.
Absolutely. The intersection of universities and hospitals.
And the sensitive patient data involved.
It brings in a whole other layer of privacy concerns.
Which directly relates to that principle of least privilege.
Ensuring only those who need access have it.
And as one of the YouTube speakers mentioned,
with electronic health records, security is paramount.
Especially with so many different systems involved.
The speaker even touched on blockchain as a potential solution. Oh yeah, let's hear it.
University hospitals own drugs that can be sold on the open market by employees that have access to the drugs.
That's a really serious issue you're bringing up.
And it underscores the critical need for robust security measures.
As the video we were discussing highlighted.
There are strict regulations around healthcare data.
Ensuring the privacy and security of patient information.
And that principle of least privilege becomes even more vital.
To prevent unauthorized access to sensitive materials.
Which absolutely extends to pharmaceuticals within a hospital setting.
Now that principle also applies to your own research data.
Which, as we've discussed, can be part of promotion considerations.
We've covered a lot of different applications today.
Let's just touch briefly on the underlying IT infrastructure.
The transcripts reminded us of how crucial IT systems are.
Reliable networks and sufficient cloud storage are key.
Along with those learning platforms we all use.
A strong IT foundation really supports everything we do.
Universities are now offering access to various AI tools.
Often from major tech companies with built-in data protections.
They're taking a careful... Oh yeah, go on.
Especially for distance learning, where the professor and the students depend on the IT infrastructure to conduct the class over the World Wide Web.
That's a really salient point you're making.
Okay, let's unpack this connection.
You're highlighting how crucial that strong IT backbone is.
Especially when you're talking about remote learning.
Where the entire class experience relies on it.
As one of the videos mentioned, they're already thinking about online versus in-person classes.
And how the technology supports those different formats.
So that infrastructure isn't just a backdrop.
It's absolutely fundamental to making it all.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
More importantly, in hybrid classes that are in person and online, all at the same time in the classroom and online.
That's a really key distinction.
Okay, so it's not just fully online.
But that simultaneous in-person and online element.
Like the speaker mentioned with their hybrid class.
Where they could have someone join from miles away.
That really emphasizes the flexibility.
And the absolute necessity of a robust IT setup.
To handle both in-person and remote participants.
Making sure everyone has a seamless experience.
Which, as you pointed out, is vital for distance learning.
And it's becoming... Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Especially the instructor teaching from a remote location on some laptop somewhere has to have an instant backup and recovery method of a second laptop available anytime the first laptop goes down.
That's a really practical consideration for remote teaching.
Absolutely. The idea of having a backup system in place.
It reminds me of what the speaker in one of the videos said.
About always having backup and recovery procedures.
They specifically mentioned bringing your own laptop.
As a backup in case the school's computers had issues.
So that same principle definitely applies to instructors too.
Especially when teaching remotely, relying on technology.
Having a second laptop ready could prevent major disruptions.
It's all about ensuring that seamless experience.
You're right, just like for students in hybrid classes.
This need for redundancy is becoming increasingly important,
And this all supports holding virtual meetings globally
allowing for effective communication and connection.
in our increasingly digital academic world.
These kinds of proactive IT skills are definitely valuable,
Showing your preparedness in various learning environments.
including being ready for technical difficulties remotely. Oh, back to our listener. What's up?
Especially for mobility, for trips, date, time, field trips of the class.
That's a very specific request.
We're not quite sure what you mean by that.
Perhaps you could clarify your question for us.
In the meantime, yep, go on.
The instructor can stream the class from a cell phone in a field trip in a company or a factory while teaching to show the class what the real world is all about.
That's a really dynamic idea.
Okay, let's unpack this potential for a real-world connection.
It really builds on that concept of blended learning.
And using technology to bridge different spaces.
As one of the videos mentioned, live streaming,
They were doing it for students who couldn't be there,
but you're suggesting taking that further.
actually bringing the outside world into the classroom.
Imagine a business class touring a factory floor virtually.
Or a science class observing a field experiment remotely,
It would offer such a valuable real-time perspective.
showing students exactly what things look like.
In a professional or practical setting,
That kind of police observation can be so powerful
it really enhances the learning experience.
and connects theory with real-world application,
It's a fantastic way to make the content more engaging.
especially thinking about those hybrid class formats.
Where some students might be, oh yeah,
Like sometimes like undercover boss, you cannot have an entire class coming in between the shelves of a factory place where the instructor can stream live from a cell phone what is happening into the classroom.
That's a very practical consideration.
Okay, so thinking about the logistics of it
You're right, bringing a whole class into some settings,
just isn't feasible or safe.
but the core idea of bringing that real-world view in.
That's still incredibly valuable.
The instructor with a cell phone,
Can offer glimpses that a whole group can't access.
like in that undercover bosses scenario,
And get those behind-the-scenes insights.
while still maintaining a safe environment
So it's about strategic use of the technology.
to overcome those physical limitations.
It really shows your commitment to dynamic learning.
Also consider how this could enhance community work.
Live streaming events or projects in action.
Globally, allowing for broader participation.
So as we start to wrap up our discussion today.
Also streaming live on YouTube Live, unauthenticated and anonymous access for potential future students and faculty to see what actually happens in the classroom.
That's a really interesting point about transparency.
Absolutely, and it brings up a few things we've touched on.
Like in one of the videos, they were streaming live
And making it public on a YouTube channel.
for anyone to view,
They even mentioned how students could subscribe.
to see what was happening.
So that idea of open access isn't entirely new.
And you're right, it could offer a real glimpse
For prospective students and faculty,
to see the actual classroom environment.
the speaker also pointed out you could adjust the privacy,
Make it unlisted, for example.
or only available to certain people.
So there are different levels of access.
But the core concept of streaming for visibility,
It's definitely something to consider.
it could be a powerful way to showcase teaching,
And the kind of interactions that happen.
which leads us to thinking about the bigger picture
The importance of these technologies is clear,
across all areas of university life
supporting how we learn and share information.
and how we connect with others
Consider how you might use these tools
to enhance your own work
to strengthen your teaching and your research.
and to build your professional profile.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
Perhaps think about exploring live streaming.
Or looking into new AI tools available.
The possibilities are truly vast.
Remember, the tech world keeps changing.
Staying informed is so important.
Taking these steps can really benefit you.
Absolutely. Until our next podcast.
Keep exploring these exciting possibilities,
We hope this discussion was valuable for you.
providing some insights into these innovative areas.
Thank you for joining us today.
Okay, so now we're done. We're going to start by wrapping up Bloom. grabbing the Loom URL, copy it to the clipboard buffer, and post it on the various recording. For example, add a comment to Psar with the URL of Loom, then pop up the notepad and put the Psar hyperlink, edit, paste it into the notepad, file save, and then see if we can play back the video, which is not ready. So refresh Psar problem step recorder. Stop the recording first, then save the recording, then select the previous file name, correct it by finding errors in the previous file name. Correct the errors, and the current time is 7:35 a.m. so 7:35 a.m. Making sure you enable the microphone. Enable. Enable mic